It's Saturday, April 5th, and we're looking at a major winter blast moving back into the eastern United States. Now, don't get me wrong, okay? I know it's April, but we're going to feel a big setback from these warmer temperatures that we've seen with a broad northwest flow. Across the west, maybe a bit of a different story. Temperatures here look like they're going to go up with above average temperatures expected as we head into next week. But this cold air eventually will start to lift out, but it's going to hold pretty tight here into the northeast anyway. Eventually, warmer days ahead, but more reinforcing cold possible by the end of next week. So kind of a setback if you're hoping for spring to continue. Although, I will tell you the positive thing of this would be that maybe we get rid of some of the severe threat that we're seeing today and tomorrow. Heavy rain across the south, the Arklatex region up through the Ozarks. This could be catastrophic flooding that will continue. And even once the last drop of rain falls, we're going to be dealing with some major river flooding pretty much across this entire region for the next several days and maybe even the rest of the week. Cold enough for some snow across the Texas Panhandle through today. There could be a couple of inches of snow here. In some cases, 2, 3, 4 inches of snow. Now, it's going to be a little bit tougher to see some of that snow accumulate further to the north and east across Oklahoma, Missouri, but there could be some light accumulations on some elevated surfaces as you wake up Sunday morning. Temperatures much colder across the central plains, dropping back below average. But another warm day across the southeast and then across the west were dry as high pressure settles in here, and another cold shot of air moving across the Great Lakes. This is going to bring some snow showers, starting as some rain showers, but once that cold air moves through, we'll flip over to some snow. Not a lot of snow, but the fact that we're saying snow, right, means it's going to be cold. So interesting to see that type of setup. Let's talk about the next couple of days. We'll zoom into all the regions across the country. And by the way, if you're new, thanks for coming over. I'm Travis. I used to be a chief meteorologist on TV. So if you're brand new, you have no idea, you've never been here before, I hope you'll consider subscribing here and connect for your weather source on YouTube. All right, across the south today, this is the problem. Severe weather. There could even be a few tornadoes across, especially Mississippi, Alabama, maybe later this evening, and then across southern parts of Tennessee. It's a hatched area, so that definitely tells you that there's a significant chance of severe storms and that those that could produce tornadoes. And that risk also extends. It's not quite as high as what we've seen the last couple of days. I totally get it, but it's not a zero threat, even as far northeast as Pennsylvania and western Maryland for some of these strong storms. And tomorrow, our front finally starts to push further to the east, so our severe threat also pushing further to the south and east. More storms on Sunday, too. There could be some tornadoes across parts of Alabama, Mississippi. Not off the charts. This is not like a major severe weather outbreak, but all it takes are 1 or 2 strong tornadoes. So just be weather aware here heading into Sunday as we see that wind shear increase. And now our storms head to the east heading into Monday. Let's dig in region by region now. We'll take you across the entire country. We'll start here across the south central United States, across Texas. We've got some rain, some of those really heavy rain showers going across Arkansas through the morning hours. As our low kicks out across Texas, look at the snow going up here towards Amarillo. Really interesting to see that here. Again, some areas could see 2, 3 inches of snow, and an isolated 6-inch total I don't think can be completely ruled out. The heaviest will be back up into the mountains of New Mexico, and then out ahead of our low, we're going to see some really strong storms start to develop across Arkansas, Louisiana, East Texas. Some of these contain some large hail damaging winds and a few tornadoes possible. And then the heavy rain threat continues, along with some severe weather too. Insult to injury, on top of the heavy rain that we've already seen across Arkansas and Missouri, southern Illinois, Tennessee. Just a horrible situation unfolding here. And then look at this as we head into the early morning hours of Sunday. Maybe a little bit of snow across central and western Oklahoma. We're trying to even get a little bit of snow here into southern Kansas and Missouri. Again, this is not going to be a huge snow event, but the fact that we're looking at snow gives you an idea of the changes that are on the way and maybe a bit of a setback toward winter. At least it's going to feel that way compared to the really warm temperatures that we've seen, and then we calm down. Look at these numbers just to get an idea of kind of what we're looking at. This is taking you through today. Really warm and arguably hot on the southern side of this front. We'll be warming up into the 70s and 80s. Here comes the cold air, though, heading into this afternoon. These will likely be your high temperatures. I mean, you're probably going to see temperatures dropping across West Texas, Oklahoma, back into the 40s and 30s. Once you get up into Sunday morning, we're talking about even Dallas, Fort Worth into the upper 30s. Below freezing back across North Texas, western Oklahoma, and highs on Sunday. I mean, granted, this would be a warm winter day, but we're talking about 50s, maybe even 40s up here into Arkansas and Missouri for highs, and then another cold night. The coldest night, at least in my mind, might actually be Monday night across this region. All right, let's take a look further to the south and east. Here comes the rain and the storms moving through West Tennessee, Kentucky. Some of these up here could also get strong, especially in this warm sector. Heavy rain marching north and east into Missouri, Kentucky, southern Illinois, southern Indiana, right here along the Ohio River, especially as our front sort of drapes out like this, that moisture riding right along our front, and then further to the south, heavy rain, strong storms possible as we move now into the overnight hours, even overnight across Mississippi, southern Louisiana, central Louisiana, and then southern Mississippi. Heavy rain still going across Tennessee. This is moving east, which is good. So it's still raining back here, but we're not going to be in that heavy corridor of rain. That pushes east with the warm air. And then as we now move into Sunday, there could be some strong storms up into this region, East Tennessee, East Kentucky, possibly even to parts of southern West Virginia, southwest Virginia. Again, nothing like what we've seen over the last couple of days, but there could be damaging winds, some hail. An isolated tornado, certainly possible the further south you go across Alabama, into the panhandle of Florida even, and then that moves east. Finally, we start to see that rain kick off to the east coast, and then we dry out across this region, and now we worry about the river flooding, which could be a concern for several days ahead. Warm today, arguably another hot day. I mean, it was 90 in some areas across the Carolinas yesterday. Another hot day today. We're also hot across the deep south, down into Alabama, Georgia, into the mid-90s or mid-80s to close to 90 across many of these areas. Here comes the cold, though. Do you see the front? Right, it's moving through Tennessee. It is moving. Again, good news here. And a return to winter, if you will, at least feeling a little bit like winter, especially in the mornings. Look at this reinforcing shot of cold air heading into Tuesday, with temperatures Tuesday morning possibly dropping into the low 20s across Ohio, Indiana. If you've had any flowers blooming, if it's felt like spring a little bit, you may say goodbye to some of that. We may get a setback here. And then Tuesday, high temperatures. I'm trying to slow this down. May not get to 40 for places like Cincinnati. We may be stuck in the 30s and 20s in Pittsburgh and to Pennsylvania, so cold. And then we do rebound some across the south, but it stays chilly here into the mid-Atlantic. Up toward the Great Lakes, quite a bit of rain here, some snow into the arrowhead of Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, into the UP of Michigan. That moves into Ontario, and then heavier rain here to the south. Cold enough, though, for some snow showers up around the UP of Michigan, and then a reinforcing shot of cold. You can see it dropping in here. This might actually bring some accumulating snow into Wisconsin, into Michigan. It's not going to be, again, a huge snow, but cold enough that we are seeing the frozen type of precipitation. Here's a look at those temperatures, dropping well below freezing tonight into early Sunday morning, back into the teens. High temperatures tomorrow, not very warm. And then animating this out a little bit further, I'm just going to let it roll out into Monday, into Tuesday. Look at this cold air. I mean, check this out. We may get near zero up here into the arrowhead of Minnesota, definitely across parts of southern Ontario, below zero, and then that cold takes aim on into the northeast, so lows in the 20s. Further to the north and east, we're going to look here into Maine. We do have some precipitation moving into some colder air, so there could be a bit of mixed precipitation, some snow here, and then that would eventually change over to some rain in some areas, but northern Maine may end up staying almost all snow for this entire event, and then we turn cold behind this. The rain showers push off to the east, and then we dry out at least somewhat here. Another wave of low pressure moves up north on Sunday. Check this out. It might be cold enough back here from Erie, Pennsylvania, up to Buffalo, up to Rochester. Maybe some snow trying to mix in here on Monday. It's going to be tough to accumulate much, but it's cold enough that this ripple of low pressure swinging through could be interesting. I'm watching it anyway. All right, temperatures here on the way down. We're starting cold in the northeast. It really never got warm into the far northeast, but we do see some chilly air moving back in. So say goodbye to the 80s from Richmond down to Norfolk. We're back into the 50s and 40s as we head now into Tuesday and Wednesday. All right, the further back to the west, we'll move into the northern plains here. It's dry, so that's the deal. Cold, though, across Minnesota, eastern South Dakota, North Dakota, but a different story across the western parts of these states. Temperatures will warm up, especially with some downsloping flow from the mountains. Even here, you can see 30s and 20s, that cold air doesn't really move that far to the west. So we're back up into the 60s across west Nebraska, also western South Dakota and North Dakota. Further to the southwest, the snow starts to wrap up across the Four Corner states. Really, I say Four Corner states, not much into Arizona. It's mostly a New Mexico, southern Colorado snow event, and then rain moves into northern California. Not a lot here either as we head into Monday and Tuesday. Otherwise, kind of dry out here across the west. And the trend over the next couple of days will be for warmer weather. I'm going to let this roll out quickly. By Monday, we're back up into the 80s across the deserts. We may push 90 by Tuesday, so pretty warm here for the next several days as this ridge of high pressure builds in. And then across the Pacific Northwest, let's spend some time here. Some rain moving in here to the coastal ranges as we head into Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon. Snow levels pretty high out ahead of our cold front. Once the front moves through, those snow levels drop back down some. We'll see some rain and snow here in the parts of Idaho, the Canadian Rockies, a little bit of snow along the border of British Columbia and Alberta, and then more snow here into the coastal ranges as those snow levels drop into the Cascades too. Staying away from California and areas south, just most of that ridging pushing our precipitation further to the north. And a look at your numbers today, highs will be pretty decent. I mean, we're talking about upper 60s to low 70s for a lot of the Central Valley of California. Even the Northwest up into Seattle should get up close to 70. And by tomorrow, that cold air starts to build in here into the Northwest with numbers dropping back down and those snow levels coming down as well. All right. Hope you have a great Saturday. I'll see you next time. Come back and subscribe if you're brand new. Thanks for all of the OGs if you've been here a while. Appreciate you all supporting the channel. See you next time.